What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Flame Toys Furai model Transformers Windblade. So I did show an unboxing of this. It does come on runners with lots and lots of parts. I did actually already get it to this point. I actually haven't assembled it yet, so we're going to assemble it together and take a look at how it goes together. But I did want to talk about the assembly process a little bit. So if you're planning to attempt to do this yourself, here's the instructions. Some of the harder parts are these really tiny parts. So if this is your first Flame Toys, I wouldn't recommend this as, your first go at assembling a model kit. It is somewhat challenging, especially compared to the prior model kits we've gotten from Flame Toys. Some of those smaller pieces here, and then the sticker detail is really small. And I'll just show you some examples of that. So here's a leg, for example. So that copper that you see there is a sticker. The little teeny tiny gold you see there on that knee. The blue sticker right there, that's really tiny. The smallest one out of all of this is actually on here. And you can actually see this little, and this, hard to hold on to, but this little thing is very delicate. You got to be careful with that. But you can see there's a sticker right in her forehead, right there in the crest. There's a copper sticker. I challenge anybody to try to get that sticker in there. It is so tiny and just doesn't want to go in. But you can see I got it in there somehow. By some miracle, I got that in there. There's also a blue sticker up here. You can see that. It's just very tiny. So that's kind of the challenge with this set, is some of the parts, and especially the sticker detail, is really small. So you need to have some patience, and you need to have just steady hands to get that done. I personally don't have them with the most steady hands. So it took me a while. This was about a 3-hour build between dinner and watching TV and talking to the wife and the daughter. I kind of got this all done in between. So I don't have an exact time on the build. Somewhere between 3 and 4 hours if I had to put it all together. So let's actually assemble this together. So let's do the body first, because I think this is going to be the hardest one to put together. So you can see there's just a ball joint and a ball socket there. Oh, and it's really tight. Just be careful. You can see again more sticker detail there. So we'll get the legs on. And this is just going to peg in here. It does snap in nicely, so I like that. Nice fitment there. I don't think these feet do they have direction? Yeah, they do have direction, so this is the right one. There we go. Nice little high heels here for Windblade. Even these have a sticker. There's a sticker on the back there. You can see that copper shining there. All right, and let's get her arms on. There's some very nice articulation on this figure, so we'll take a look at all that in just a minute. Oh, and so this is actually a piece that they recommend gluing, and I didn't glue it just to see what would happen. So I do recommend gluing it now that I see that it does fall off pretty easily. It just goes right back on there, but I am going to glue that on. It actually says in the instructions. So I advise you, whatever it says in the instructions, just do it, because it seems to tell you the right order of things, and also not only that, but when to put stickers on and when to look out for stuff like glue. And I can't get that piece out of there, so I'm going to need a little spudger, but I would definitely advise using the instructions exactly. Basically don't miss a step. Follow it right to the T. Let's get this on there. There we go. All right, so we get the arms on. Let's get the head. And this, you got to be careful because you've got these really delicate pieces on the side, so. Ooh, and I broke it. I knew it. So it's very hard because you got to press this head on, but you got to be careful not to break off that piece, and I broke it off. So that's kind of unfortunate. I was worried about that because this is such a tight ball joint. I don't know how you're going to do it without putting some pressure on here. Oh, yeah, you really have to be careful with these. So I've got one missing now. That's unfortunate. I could probably glue it on, but man, it does kind of suck. But all right, she's getting big. She's getting much taller. All right, let's get the wings on the back. So these are, and I'm losing pieces here. Let's get this on here. All right, so these are going to plug in right here. You can see there's a little slot right there. Just be careful. And this one is going to actually fit around that, so they grab each other on the back here. So give those a little squeeze together, and they should kind of hold each other together. But there you go for the back. All right. Let's get the hands on here. Now you have a choice of hands, so you have these. All right, so there she is. I've glued the recommended pieces, so that front ab piece right there, and then this back piece right here I glued on. I also glued a couple other pieces, and now we'll take a look at this in a second, but here are the alternate hands. So if you take these off, and these can be tricky, sometimes the whole thing comes off, so you just take this off the ball joint, pop this on, and then pop that back into here. And now we can use the sword. So here's the sword. You get this nice translucent purple with the red handle. It says red plastic. But this can go into here. Now, if you don't glue the hands together, you'll have trouble getting these to actually go in here. So, I recommend you glue it, but once you glue that, you can get that in there. That one doesn't fit well. Let's see if this one fits a little better. Maybe I had the wrong one. Yeah, maybe it's has side specific, but there you go. There's her sword and the gripped hand. Nice looking weapons. Let's go over the articulation on this. And it's really quite articulated, but you do have to be a little bit careful. And I mentioned earlier, these are very, very breakable, but it does actually articulate. You can actually move these little ear things. This one's now also breaking. You can see it's just a tiny, tiny thin piece of plastic. I already broke this one off. So just be careful with those. But starting off with the head is on a ball joint, so it gets down to there, up to there. This neck piece can move, so you can get the neck all the way down, so she can really look down to her feet. And then you can look up, not that much, honestly, but she can look up. Your rotation all the way around, and you get the side-to-side movement on that head. The wings coming back here, they go in and out this way. The entire panel can rock down and up. You do have a nice little cockpit there. I do have the Autobot symbol there. It didn't show that in the instructions, but I figured that's the best place to put it. These wings can go in and out, and then the entire wings can fold back and rotate upwards on that. So you really get a lot of movement on those wings. There's a lot of articulation. They do sometimes pop off of this joint. You can just pop it back on. If you don't like the wings, you can actually take them off completely, but then she wouldn't be Windblade, right? The shoulders rotate all the way around. I'll show you on this one. They go up to here on this joint. They have a inner butterfly joint, so you can get them out this way, so she can cross over her chest. So that's a nice little movement there. And then you can also go down on this joint. Now, if you go too far, you'll get off of this hinge here. So you want to make sure you stay within the range there. But just like any other model kit, you can always pop it back on. It's not a big deal. All right. Continuing down, you have a double jointed elbow, gets you the full bend there. There's a lot of movement here in the hand, so this goes in and out here. And it has a little slot for the blade, or I guess the, the wing to go in and out. And then the hand is on a ball joint, so this moves in and out, rotates all the way around, and it goes up and down. So you can really get any movement you need on this hand. The fingers aren't articulated, obviously. This is very thin, so just be careful with that thin plastic there. For the abs, you've got a ton of movement, so again, you got to be careful as you do it. But you can lift up here, and there's multiple joints there. So you can rotate there. And again, be careful. Make sure you're not colliding. Rotate there. You can crunch down there, crunch back all the way there. There's a separate joint down here that goes side to side. So she can have that side to side movement down on that joint. I don't think you can rotate on that joint though. And you can kind of get it kind of mushed back together so it looks cohesive. But if you're doing a move, you can kind of get it hunched over, really however you like. Coming down to here, there is a little bit of movement here. I don't know if that's articulation or just the parts moving. If you bring the leg so you can look, there's a drop down joint here. So you can drop down that joint. And we want to put this back. If you drop down that joint, there's actually a gap here. So they actually allow you to move the butt panel in and out. So she can flex her butt here. I've never seen that before. And then the leg itself, if you bring it on that drop down joint, she can get it all the way up to there. And that's why I think this stuff moves. So both of these panels kind of move out of the way just to really allow the maximum movement of that leg. So that's a nice little joint there. I haven't really seen a lot of articulation like that. Your rotation here around this thigh joint, like that. You have a double jointed knee, so that gets you the full bend, and it has that kind of automorphing stuff that you see with Flames toys. Kind of neat. The knee pad moves on its own. Coming down to here, you have ankle tilt all the way out to there, up to there. Most people need it that way, but you have this little cover down panel here, and then you have a toe rocker. You can see she's got the high heels there. They did try to put a flat surface there. I find it to still be not enough surface area because it is challenging to get her to stand on those thin little feet. And for a quick size comparison, there is Windblade next to the Takara Tomy Masterpiece RC. Basically the same size. Her wings come up a little bit higher, but relatively the same size and some similar proportions, but obviously, stylized here. But there you go for comparison. So final thoughts on the Flame Toys Furai model Windblade. Let's start with the positives. I think she really looks great. They did a good job with the color scheme and the overall detail. She just kind of has some nice accents, little shiny pieces. There is a tiny bit of paint on here, so the little white tips on those wings and those wings. A little bit of blue paint here on that chest plate, and that's really it. The rest anything you see that's shiny or stands out as kind of a different color inside the plastic like that, or like the little blue or those, that's all sticker detail that was kind of a paint install. But it does look good. I do like the contrast and the overall colors. I do like the swords. I think those look good as well. Posability is really, really, really well done. I think of the Flame Toys model kits, this is one of the best, if not the best articulation. Negatives wise, the build process is very frustrating. They're very small parts, and this is not meant for a beginner. So if this is your first model kit, I don't recommend starting with this one. It's got a lot of small little parts, and you really need to have patience and just take your time. Also, there are some fragile parts. Like I mentioned earlier, I broke that piece there. This one's on its way out. That one's probably going to break eventually. And then there's little teeny tiny pieces like these hands and stuff. You just got to be careful with those. But if you've built these kind of kits before, especially the Flame Toys one, then you're really going to enjoy this. And it really does. It's a good version of Windblade. So that's really it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.